are constantly looking at this and wondering what the next thing is and blah, blah, blah. So it was a nice break, actually, to be honest, to switch off from all of it. But anyway, I was getting that, I'm losing the point. Let me just find out what her name is, just so you can all follow her too. Pinky Rocha, or maybe Rocha. So it's Pinky Rocha. She's on Instagram, and I think she follows the Facebook group as well. Go over and give her a follow. She's similar times to me, I think, Bypass. Anyway, I just wanted to give her a shout out and say sorry we couldn't meet up, but next time, hey, I reckon motorhome wise our paths will cross and it will be brilliant. So yes, had an amazing weekend, but my point was that she'd put on Instagram her food and fluid intake being away wasn't great, and I'm exactly the same. Possibly haven't eaten enough, because you just eat. I think when you're away, you're actually really scared of bumping. You know, we have a no poo policy in our motorhome. We can wee in there because we're prepared to empty it all. Definitely no poo, no vomit, because I don't want to clear that shit up. Anyway, so I think you're a little bit more on edge when you're away, as in what you eat, and if it doesn't feel right, you think, okay, I'd rather leave it and not eat anything than actually ruin my weekend and feel sick or have to go and lie down. So yeah, food-wise and fluid-wise, as well as forgetting to, you know, look at my phone while I was playing with my granddaughter, I forgot to drink. So, but on the other scale of that, I did have 3 glasses of wine, which was really nice, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. What I have realised since coming home, firstly, the drive home, oh my God. So we've got a sat-nav, and I did put this out on the motorhome forum today. We've got a Garmin sat-nav, which is supposed to be for our motorhome. And you actually do, Howard's told me, you do type in the dimensions of your motorhome. So it does actually try and route you down roads that are okay for your size vehicle. Well, today, I mean, I'm kicking myself because you came out of the campsite, and if you took a left, that's the way we actually entered it. There was a tiny, tiny road, but it really is only for 200-300 yards and one big passing place. So I thought, all I kept thinking, because it was, I'm predominantly the driver, because Howie still works, and I feel that's part of my job to do the driving, the lion's share of the driving. He can either relax, or like on Friday, he actually worked from the motorhome while I was driving. So for the first 2 hours, I was dead silent, driving the truck while he was actually doing a work call in the back. Anyway, so I'd taken a left. Sorry, I wanted to take a left, but SatNav told me to take a right. Stupid mistake, trusting and listening SatNav, which we've now renamed TwatNav. So I took a right out of this campsite, and I am not kidding you. I'm not exaggerating here. We went down a couple of very small roads, and I'm like, bloody hell, if a car comes now, I'm screwed, because I cannot reverse. It's 7.5 meters long. I can't reverse it down a country lane. And I'm just thinking, well, I'm in it now. There's nothing I can do. The road is so small. If people are there, they're going to have to squish over. So a couple of hair-raising moments with cars that came towards us, and they had to squeeze over, and the bloody wing mirrors were getting knocked by the hedges and stuff. But luckily, we've just bought wing mirror covers, which is, thank God for that, thank God. Anyway, but you know, the more stressed I felt, the deeper into these maze of tiny, the roads went from a concrete road to basically a dirt track, and Howard's getting stressed and I was getting stressed, and I was kind of going, what the fuck do I do here? Because I can't turn around, there isn't any room. At this point, the hedges were touching the wing mirrors, and it was the kind of road where the grass has actually grown in the middle because no fucker takes it. And I was just like, oh my God. And Howard's screaming at the sat-nav because it clearly has not taken us the right route. And I'm just going, there's nothing we can do about this, Howard. I'm committed to this road. We have to follow it now. And if we meet, I hope we don't meet a tractor, because what would we do? In fact, if we met another motorhome, for instance, I actually think none of us would have moved, and we would have sat there and had a cup of tea together until, I don't know, we were airlifted out, I guess. It was ludicrous. Anyway, possibly for Howie reckons about 6 miles, we had to do this hair-raising drive. Thankfully, we didn't come across a motorhome in the opposite direction, or a tractor, or anything bigger for that fact. So we were really grateful for that, and we got onto the motorway, or the A road, which was just like, oh, white lines on the road, thank you. And we got home, but a 3-hour journey actually took us probably nearly 6. You know, and I know people will say, well, you're stupid, you're traveling on a bank holiday, but that isn't an issue for us. We don't worry about that. We're so happy to get away and plodding along in the motorhome, stop, start. You know, we had the most perfect day yesterday with the sun shining, and we were able to go to the beach with Willow and sit on the beach. So, we are really, really grateful for small mercies, really. But I came home and I said to Howard, I'm not cooking. I've had crap all weekend anyway. So Willow had a piece of fish from the fish and chip shop the other night, and it made me think I want fish and chips. So I've actually been to the fish and chip shop, but this is the bit I was going to tell you about, which is, I hope I come across as being funny, ha-ha, because I don't want you to think that I'm really awful, although in my head something is awful. But there's times like this. So I've stood in the queue at the fish and chip shop. Howard's trying to fit a new sat-nav, funny enough, radio stroke sat-nav in Aggie, and this woman's walked in with her 2 kids, and they're extremely young. Like, the little girl's probably about 1 and tottering but holding hands, and the little boy's no much bigger. But, you know, everybody in England, we're all quite quiet. We're all quite stuffy, actually, unless somebody breaks the silence. So everybody in the queue is extremely quiet. We're just patiently waiting our turn to get served, or then to pay and get our stuff and go. And this woman was just so loud and pointless, and within a few seconds of my brain flipping, I'm thinking, what is wrong with me? Why can't I handle this woman's voice, tone, her volume, everything about it? And in my head I'm going, shut the fuck up. She's talking to these 2 tiny children about stuff they don't understand anyway. Oh, Daddy's got to walk home tonight, he's got a puncture, okay. And these children are just kicking the wall and pulling leaves off a plant, and, you know, that she's totally got no control over them. And maybe that's my problem too, because I'm thinking, for God's sake, woman, stop your child pulling the leaves off that. It's a real plant, for God's sake. And so this is what goes through my head. And I knew straight away, I'm premenstrual. I have to be, there's a flip that switches, or a switch that flips in my brain, and I've got no tolerance for anything. And it takes all my might to not say something. Do you know what I mean? Like, control your children, or do you mind just turning it down a little bit? You know, I just, yeah. So I don't want this to come across as, Janine, you're an absolute bitch. I know at the moment this is a hormonal change in my brain. I just can't cope with that kind of inane, what else did she say? Oh, please don't do that on Mummy, because you've got wet shoes and socks on. Now we know nobody likes wet socks and shoes. And when we get home, don't worry, because we're going to change them. We're going to put you on some top. Oh, as if we fucking need to know that. You know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking in my head, going, woman, you need to shut up, get your chicken burger and get out of this shop. You know, and in my head, I'm just like, anyway, I just thought I'd tell you that, because it can be quite funny. I come away kind of chuckling to myself, and it reminds me of other times where I've been like that. And in fact, one of them was on an aeroplane. And it was a similar thing. I think it's a pitch of somebody's voice and the lack of volume control. You know, we all need to be able to taper it down when possible, especially in a shop like that. The woman couldn't hear people's orders because of this woman talking like this. And once on the airplane, I'll briefly tell you this, which, yeah, I was with Howie and Chelsea and Max, and we were on a business class flight. It was actually 2 or 3 years ago to the day, because it was my niece's wedding in Crete, and we'd all flown over there. And Harry had treated us to British Airways business class, which was really lovely. You basically got your 3 seats on an aeroplane, but they block the middle one out. That's what business class is there on these short hauls. So anyway, Chelsea and Max are sat opposite, and there's me and Howie here. And right behind me, there was a severely disabled guy, you know, kind of Stephen Hawkins lookalikey. And his carer sat behind Howie. He sat directly behind me, and his carer sat directly behind Howie. Then behind Chelsea and Max was another carer. So basically, this guy had 2 carers either side of him. But the carer behind Chelsea he didn't speak. I don't think he had the capability to speak, but all you could hear his carer saying was, "No, Trevor, no, we don't get champagne on this flight, no. Anyway, that was the beginning of it, and we're all kind of rolling our eyes going, oh my God. And I started to fall asleep at some point, and she started again. And she was just like, "Trevor, I've already told you." I was like, "All right, you've just told the whole bloody plane and we don't need to listen." I said, "Turn it down a bit, woman. You've just, every time I close my eyes, you are waking me up." And she's like, "I'm caring for him." I said, "He's not the problem, it's you." I was like, oh. So sometimes, this is my point, I can really get myself in trouble. You know, I'm quite surprised I haven't been punched in the head or told to fuck off, basically, because my mouth runs away with me before I can engage my brain and say, you know, I don't know. I think other people laugh at me and kind of, my kids are just like, "Oh, mum," but I can't help it. If I feel there's an injustice or there's something. But today I was good. I just realised I must be premenstrual because I wanted to shut that woman up. I didn't shut the woman up as much as I wanted to. My other thing is, see, I'm like a bipolar when I'm premenstrual. So I've also come home and realised up in the, we have a glass lantern in the roof of this orangery, which gets lots of flies and bees and stuff on the little ledge. Well, today there's been a hawk moth. For any of you that don't know what that is, Google it. A hawk moth, they're not that common. Excuse me, they're really large, like this big moths. No, they're not. They're probably about as big as my thumb. But they're really quite special. Anyway, I did all the unsafety things. I put a chair on top of the table, climbed on top of the table, on top of the chair, to try and help and save this hawk moth, and I actually couldn't. And it's really crucifying me now. There's my emotions. I've gone from angry, super angry woman to, oh my God, I can't save this moth. How freaking ridiculous is that? How ridiculous am I? So this poor moth is up there now, and I can hear him, but he's stuck and I can't get to him. It doesn't matter what I've tried. I've tried with some little tongs and tweezers and a spider catcher, and it's really sad because I've got to listen to him just trying to get out and he can't. Anyway, that's totally not. I hope I've made you laugh with my premenstrual mood, because this should happen once a month, and I will endeavour to tell you the tales of what goes on inside this brain of mine, which is not normally, it's not normal. And I know that. I know. I'll give you another little one. I gave up smoking a long time ago, but during giving up smoking, you get extremely depressed. And I remember going to the doctor because I didn't have any help. I tried to go cold turkey. This was many years ago. It was a failed attempt. And I remember going to the doctors because I thought, I can't handle this. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I'm going to kill myself or something. I was so low about not smoking. And whilst I sat in the doctor's surgery, I listened to this woman on the telephone talking to obviously a patient about what injection she needed to go abroad. But she repeated herself more than 3 times. In my head, I've already pulled the woman over the thing and shoved the telephone down her throat to shut her up. And then I was like, oh my God, I really need to see this doctor now before I do anything stupid, you know. I mean, I'm being facetious about it, but don't ever think I'm not that, or a karate chopper. Anyway, guys, I've actually rambled for a long, long time. If you watch this, I apologise. I apologise for my weird schizo moods, but this is what you're going to get. This is Jan Jan. This is me in all my glory. Fucked up head and all, I reckon. Screwed up premenstrual hormonal me. And if you've watched this long, then I think you deserve a medal, because it's probably the longest video I've ever done. And I'm just talking to myself. But anyway, thank you for following me. Any questions about any of my moods or hormonal stuff, give us a little comment down below. I will answer all of you. I am going to go and have a bath and hair wash and try and do something with myself and get out my camping gear. That would be a good start. Get home, get home. I've already done some washing, actually. That's unfair of me to say that. And loved my cat. She missed me loads, actually. Bless her. It's always nice to come home to something, isn't it? Anyway, I'm off on a tangent again. Bye, guys. I will no doubt speak to you tomorrow. My plans this week are to really try and get some exercise in. I'm not doing so good. I'm lacking in motivation, and all I seem to want to do is plan holidays and get away in Aggie, which I love, but it's not helping my everything, really, is it? There's no endorphins if I'm not exercising. So I need to start doing that and get off my bum. Anyway, take care. Bye.